it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts, UK independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thank you very much for joining me again today. You will remember that earlier this week I showed you some of the Snowflake Showcase. I really can't remember that that's what it's called, but there we go. Snowflake Showcase that is coming very soon to customers. For customers, you are going to be able to order it from the 1st of November, my birthday, until the end of November, or when it sells out, whichever happens first. So I thought I would show you a card that I have made using this set, and you know what? I love it. It's so pretty, and it's really easy to make. It has to be, because I made it. You know me, I don't tend to do really complicated. It's just not the way that I rock and roll. So I've just realised I need some more water in my water brush, but that's fine. I've got one water brush that's very full, which has got a small nib on it, and one that's empty, which has got a large nib on it, and I'm just swapping over the tops. So that's fine. One nice full water brush, as if by magic. So this uses almost no supplies at all. Well, I say that. Some. It's an embossing project. It's a water brush project. It's pretty and gorgeous and luscious and lovely. So let me show you how it's made. I haven't done the inside, sorry. Just realised, of course, do I have another piece of balmy blue? Yes, I do. One piece of balmy blue already scored and everything, which is perfect. You'd think I had it planned, but I didn't. So I'll pop my card so I can see it, even if you can't. I'm using shimmer white cardstock because that will take the water that I'm going to use. The watery bit doesn't happen yet. So the first thing we're going to do is some heat embossing. So just put your embossing buddy all the way over your card, just in case you've got sticky fingers. It takes the static and the greasy marks off. I'm taking the Christmas tree, the Snowflake Christmas tree, and my Versamark ink, and just inking that up. And this is simply going to be a case of find a sort of centre-ish bit and just go straight down. And press nice and hard, because this is a detailed stamp, so we want to make sure that we've got all of that lovely ink transferred across. Then peel it up, and it will be a question of peel. And then I'm going to grab my silver embossing powder and just add that to my card. So let's dribble that over and tap it off, and just make sure all of the excess is gone. Now I do have in my toolkit a stiff but soft brush. This is an acrylic brush, as in it's one for using with acrylic paints rather than watercolour, and I keep it just for getting embossing powder off my card. Now that's not 100% square, but you know what, it doesn't matter. So that's that. Then I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder because we need to do some more embossing, so I'll just have that ready. So I've got the small, well, it's not the smallest, that's the smallest snowflake. I've got this snowflake here, and I'm going to be using this here. So snowflake first. This is going to be our star at the top of our tree. So let's just line that up. And I can see through because it's a photopolymer stamp, so I can see through very easily. So we'll add that, and that's going to be gold. So I'm just going to add gold embossing powder to that. And I will come in, and there's a little bit at the top there which I will wipe off in a moment, but not before I've put our trunk on. So that's going to go in the middle at the bottom, and I'm just doing it by eye, I'm not measuring, so it's not going to be, you know, perfect, but it's going to be beautiful. And there we go. Ooh, would be even more beautiful if I managed to get embossing powder on all of that tree trunk. There we go. As I say, I've got some bits of embossing powder on there again. So grab my brush, and this is even after having used the embossing buddy. So do just, you know, bear in mind. In fact, I want a little bit more embossing powder on top of my trunk. That's better. Right. Now, we haven't actually finished with the embossing, but because we're going to be doing some painting, I want a bit of extra time, so I'm going to do this first. I always end up with embossing powder over my work surface. Fortunately, I don't think you can see it, so that's fine. Right, I'm going to start my heat gun going while I grab my trusty cheese board and pop this under here. I have my heat gun just hanging on a hook. Right, and here we go. Sorry about the noise, not much I can do about that. And I could watch this forever. So as I say, this is going to be available from the 1st of November. I will list all the information on my website for the items I'm using today, as ever. If you want it earlier than November, do remember that you can put it into a starter kit. Just checking that that's all melted, which it has. So yes, you can put this into a starter kit. So if you wanted it early and you know, it would be a great thing to add in. So always do bear that in mind. If you're after something and it's only available for demonstrators at a particular moment, you just become a demonstrator. So, you know, buy the starter kit. It's a great deal anyway, because it's £130 and you only spend £99 including postage and packing. So no extra P&P. Right, this is a balmy blue ink pad, and I've put some ink, just squeezed my ink pad into the lid and just add some water to that, because we want a wash. We don't want anything too intense. And I'm literally just washing it, and I'm taking it kind of from the middle down, complete with the stray hair. Let's get rid of that. Come along. No, I'll get it off in a minute. So I'm going literally all the way top to bottom. I better bring that out to the side a bit, that side, as I've squished off that side. So there we are, simple as. So that's all we need that for. Just clean off my brush on some kitchen towel, and then that's done. And then I'm just going to see if I can remove the stray hair. It'll be one of the cat's hairs. Right, so that now needs to dry. I may need to bring in my heat tool just to help that along in a minute, but for the moment I'm going to pop that to one side whilst we get on with the rest. So I have a piece of vellum. This is cut at 3/4 of an inch wide, and it's an arbitrary 5 inches. I am going to trim it down so it's not, the length is not vital. It needs to be, let's see, it needs to be at least 4 inches, I would say. But it happened to be just a scrap that I had, so it was good to go. So this is sending you a blizzard of wishes for a wonderful season. So I'm inking that up with Versamark as well. Grab my embossing buddy just so that we've got that all done. Line it up on your grid paper so that you can then stamp square, even though my stamp is anything but square on my block. I've rocked that a bit, so hopefully it'll be all right. Peel that off, and then grabbing my gold embossing powder, I'm just going to dabble that into my gold embossing powder. looks as if I've got it all. So that's that. So, trusty cheese board back. And clip that in. Heat tool, and I will heat it up again. Might heat it up over my wet piece of card just to help that dry a bit quicker. Kill two birds with one stone, eh? Right, okay, so here we go. Now don't get too close to your vellum with your heat tool. It is it's a good vellum, it's a thick vellum. It's more of a card than a paper, but you don't want to get too close. Just make sure it's properly melted all the way along. Perfect. A bit more blitzing on my, just from the back, going to help this dry off a bit more. Now obviously in the privacy of your own home you'll be able to make sure that your stamped and embossed piece is perfectly dry, but I'm just going to keep going and it'll be fine. So now I did prettiness at the end of this. I've got my everyday label punch, and all I'm doing is tucking that in and then lining it up and punch one side, line it up and get it sort of as even as you can. And punch the other side, and then you're good to go. So do remember, your punches are not just there to do a simple punch, they can do other things as well. Right, okay, so this is where I would say liquid adhesive is going to be your friend, because you want this to get as flat as possible, because it will, just by definition of having been wet, it will want to curl a bit. So let's try and encourage it flat. So this is more glue than I would normally use, or it's probably a wider expanse of glue than I would normally use. So let's do that and grab a large block while I put the top on my glue, and that will help squish all that down for a moment. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is add some of the polka dot tulle. Now, I spent a wee bit of time deciding which one I was going to use. I thought I was going to use the Whisper White one, but actually I'm using the Very Vanilla, and the reason for that, I think you can see, is that the Very Vanilla is very white. Sorry, the Whisper White is very white, whereas the Very Vanilla is, it's not actually quite as cream as Very Vanilla. So let me grab something that's Very Vanilla. There we go. So this is Very Vanilla, and it's not quite as vanilla, but because the shimmery white cardstock isn't quite white, I felt that the Whisper White was too bright a white. So for this particular technique, because I was using the shimmery white card, I've gone with the vanilla polka dot. So that's just to explain why that. Hopefully now that's going to be pretty much flat, or flat enough. I will keep pushing it. So I'm just going to do a zigzag. Now I actually add a bit of more cat fur. I add a bit of adhesive as I go along. So first things first, the polka dot you can cut beautifully in a diagonal, because you've got these polka dots that are in a diagonal. So you can get a nice sharp point on your ribbon. So let's pop that down there, and then I'm going to add some more adhesive overlapping, and then just zigzag that across, and then more adhesive overlapping, and zigzag it across again. Now this is going to be quite a definite, you know, splodge of the ribbon, but because it's the tulle, it's not as obvious as it might otherwise be, and it does give you, that at an angle would have been so much better, of course. That's better. Yes, you want it to be at a slight angle so that you can actually zigzag it. Always a plan. So let's just add a bit more on top there, and then zigzag across back. Maybe a little bit less of that. There we go. Right, and then you can cut your nice diagonal again, because you've got your dots that you can just follow. So that's that. Now, of course, the key to vellum is how to stick it down. So this is where your mini glue dots are going to be your friend. Because we've got this heat embossing, there is actually some space to hide some glue. So if you take your mini glue dots and just fold them in half, you can hide them behind your heat embossing, and that way they won't show through the vellum. So always worth remembering that heat embossing is not see-through. So just grab, I'm probably going to use 4, just so that I've got some reasonable anchor. I mean, it's not as if there's any weight behind this, so it's not, you know, it's not as if it's holding on a really heavy piece of cardstock or a velvet ribbon. It's just a piece of vellum. And then just pop that across the middle. And there you go. There are our two, sending a blizzard of wishes to for a wonderful season. I'm loving this stamp set. It's just to die for. So there you go. Snow is glistening. Not yet, please. Sorry, I've just realised that my Velux is shining off this. So hopefully that's better. But really pretty, really easy card to make. If you don't already subscribe to my YouTube and you would like to see more videos, please do subscribe. I'm about 50 subscribers off 5,000, which is a real goal for my birthday, which, as I mentioned, coincides with the launch of this limited edition suite. So if you don't already subscribe, that would be great if you do. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to buy any of the products that I have used, or you would like to buy the starter kit and join my wonderful Sparkling Sunflower team of team members, there's a thought. We're a great little bunch. I mean, there's what, 14 there? No, about just under 20 of us now. So it would be lovely to welcome you to the team. We have a real laugh. We're spread around the country, but we get together on Facebook and all that good stuff. And we try and meet up as often as we can face to face as well. So it would be lovely if you would like to join the team too. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye!